Welcome to the Finding Home podcast by the Heart Weavers.
Oh my god. In case y'all don't know what's happening, we made the director cry.
Hi, I'm Pei Qi. I'm both Lucian and Ah Gong's friend.
My name is Azree. I'm 26 this year. Okay, so I'm living here with my partner as well as my grandparent.
As he mentioned, I'm his partner. I'm Lucian and I'm 24 years old.
I'm Ku Hong Kit, that's my name. 81 years old. Three of us, including my bedridden wife, have been living here for more than a year. I live slightly more than a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so what prompted me to move in is when about a few years ago, I didn't really came out to my family, but more of like they more or less know about me. So they're not really accepting of who I want to be. So that's when I decided to become more independent and decided to take the decision to leave the house and live with my partner as well as his grandparents. So that's where we get to build our relationship better as well as to know each other even better by living together. Okay, so I only moved in when we were about almost a year into the relationship. So it took a lot of adaptation to be done. So like for example, like in terms of laundry or in terms of our daily things that we do, as well as certain things that we like, we don't like. So that's where we learn more about what we don't like to do and like to do. So that's where we try to adapt to what we both are comfortable with.
That's a very objective way of saying it. I think, we have our preferences for the way the room is because we are both sharing just one room. I think for me, I tend to be very neat, and for IG, he likes things to be very clean a lot. So we needed to make compromises. We need to discuss how we want to split the chores and also what we can do as a couple unit together. Yeah, I think it took a while for us to also navigate some of the disagreements that we had also, and as time goes by, I think we learn more about each other, we get used to each other, and we learn to love each other more deeply.
It's okay, I see the way they are going on peacefully. And I have no objection for this sort of relationship, because nowadays the world has changed. I think it is, and then not much trouble, right?
Yeah, things are different.
Things are a bit different now. Yeah. But what I can see is that both of them, they know how to give and take. That's why they can get along. That's what I think.
Actually, Ah Gong is underselling himself, because honestly, right, so what happened was my mom said that we needed to move into my grandparents' house because things may not be going so well there at my parents' unit. So what happened is my grandpa was very nice. So as both of us have a room to ourselves, Ah Gong actually willingly given up that room so that for us to have the privacy. Actually, we didn't come up with the idea, so we were actually quite surprised and quite shocked at first, and most of us were quite thankful because I think for a lot of LGBT couples, I think one of the challenges, especially living in Singapore, is that you can't buy a house, and you can't buy a house affordably. So I think that is the blessing that I have, having Ah Gong be so accepting and so wonderful to let us have a place to stay until we reach the age of 35. As we said, we are quite young still, so we have not have enough savings to get our own house at all. Yeah.
There were times where we felt sick. So normally if I'm not at home, meaning I'll be at work. But if I'm at home, that means it's either I'm sick or I'm on leave lah. So Ah Gong was very nice to ask me, hey, are you on leave today, or what's wrong? Why are you at home? then I just say I'm not feeling well, so that's why I'm taking the time off, or maybe just to rest because it's either I'm not feeling well or is that I'm facing a lot of stress at work, so I need some time off just to get my mind off.
The fact that he allowed us to stay, I think, it's quite different because I think also in primary school I used to stay with my grandparents, but after in secondary school my mom wanted me to be more independent. My mom felt that my grandparents were what's that word? Making me over reliant on them, not letting me be independent. So so they asked me to move in with them, so I did. Then so I've not really seen them as much for those few years including in poly. Then after that I started uni where I met Azree. Then after I moved back, then I get to see my grandparents every day now. So it's quite nice seeing how much they have grown also. And I think we're just here also to make sure that they are safe, in the case of any emergency or anything. We're here because Ah Gong is not as young as he used to be already. I still remember all the old times where we used to stay at our Rochor Centre, the very colourful units before it was demolished, and all my childhood memories were there. So I really appreciate that.
Nothing much except to look forward to have both of you inclusive of my bedridden wife, just to live happily and to settle any differences if there are any. That's what I'm hoping. Any problems that crops up, we just discuss it over nicely and try to solve it all. So far, I think it's quite okay. Not much.
Yeah. Oh, there was one time during one of my poly projects, I was supposed to interview one of our family members. Then I did ask, also what would happen if anyone is gay? What are your thoughts towards gay people? Then my Ah Gong surprisingly gave me quite a neutral answer. I think maybe that sort of was, I think sometimes I may forget, but subconsciously it made me feel comfortable with Ah Gong. Knowing that he's not gonna kick me out, he's not gonna hate me, he's not gonna discriminate against me just for that.
I had a hunch, but back then we were not very close, so I also didn't know. It wasn't appropriate to start that conversation. So it was when gradually we started to get close with each other, and we had, I think it was during one of the office conversations, right? Casual conversations that we talked about it, and that's when Lucian shared with us about his sexual orientation. So we continued to talk more about it, and that's how we got close to each other as well.
I think also Pei Qi and the other colleague was the first few people that I actually came out to. Then eventually my team of 6 knew because I told all of them, and even my boss know. Yeah.
And Lucian, prior to this, do you have any reservations or thoughts about coming out to your colleagues of PT at all?
Yeah, I did, because I would not be sure how any of them will react, whether they will shun me, whether they will start speaking bad about me, whether it will affect any of my future work employment opportunities or anything. So, and also not sure because we don't have laws to protect us against discrimination. So I'm not sure what would happen if they decide to do any of those things. And but I think ultimately I realized that this team I can really trust, and I was very grateful and very lucky to have met all of them, because through this team I felt very comfortable. I was very much supported, and also I think we bonded very well.
Okay, so my thought and feelings of being introduced is firstly, it is very, I feel honoured because I've never been introduced, to a friend of my partner, even in my previous relationship. So this is something new that I want to explore, and also it kind of widens my social circle. And also, I'm very thankful that Pei is a very nice friend who is very accepting of not only Lucian but also of me, and also is very supportive of our relationship. So in short, she's like an ally lah to our community. Yeah.
Yeah, she's so wonderful. She actually came down to give us presents from her recent trip, and now she's doing the shoot here.
She pay me.
Nah.
Why you laugh?
I think we are quite. I think we're quite open about how we treat each other. Yeah, we are. I think we treat each other like family, so I think we're quite blunt with each other. And I think we'll roast each other all the time.
Yeah, that's the basis of our friendship. We build on sarcasm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for me and her, I think it's really nice that I can talk about all these topics with her, and she'll just listen without judgment. And since we're both actually social work trained, we are actually quite good listeners, and she's a particularly very good listener. She'll really want to hear more, and she'll be here for me, so I'm always very thankful.
For me, it took me a while to not feel like I'm third wheeling them when they are out for their dates, because they will always invite me and the rest of our colleagues to join in as well. So at first we're like trying to navigate this new relationship, these new dynamics. But I think both Lucian and Azree do make an effort to not feel like they are excluding any one of us out. So eventually we just got pretty comfortable with having all three of us around. Yeah.
Because I know Pei from Lucian, so I don't really know her personally, but I do have because you see, I don't see Pei as often as Lucian at work, so I do find it she's like a family to us, because she accepts us for who we are, and also supports us on our decision, and also listens to on days that we because how couples fight, right? So so she'll be like our listening ear, and also we will share with her, and also not only she is a good listener, but she was also a good advisor, because I still remember there's this one point where she shared with us about this ruler. I can't really remember what it stands for, the ruler, but it does help us in a way to sit down, talk about it, instead of shutting each other down and just I talk first or you talk first. We just sit down and see how we can make things better and also improve the relationship along the way.
So the ruler is not exactly a physical ruler. It's an
acronym.
It's an acronym from this book called Permission to Feel. So it's just some key pointers to look out for in communication. I think like with every relationship, there'll be ups and downs. So I think initially we're very excited. We can see each other a lot more. But I think when we get to the real stuff, we need to discuss about our preferences for how the room looks like, and also divide our domestic chores, and also find time to also continue to appreciate each other every day.
Okay, so honestly, it's not my first time living with a partner. So because of my previous relationship as well. So of course, it takes a lot of effort to adapt with each other, and it also takes a lot of compromises, where we need to divide in terms of not only chores but also like finances. Also on days where on days where who's doing what, who is doing this, and how can we align to make sure that we don't overdo or underdo things that we may not like. And also, if there's any issue or there's any hiccups, we will sit down and we will talk it out, instead of sleeping it off. Because I always tell Lucian, my aim in the relationship, or in fact our aim, should be we should not sleep without settling any problem. We should at least talk it out. And if let's say you need more time on your own, then okay, perhaps you can have it. But it's the first thing. If let's say we wake up the next thing in the morning, we should talk it out lah. Because it's not healthy, or in fact it is. It's not healthy to leave something hanging. Yeah.
He's a very, very, very sweet guy. So he will follow me for all my medical appointments. He will, as much as possible that he can, he will accompany me for my exams. He will always give me a lot of encouragement to let me know that he's here. Even though I grew up being very stressed by my academics a lot, so I'm always like, even up to now, sometimes I get very stressed thinking whether if, oh no, I got so many things to do. I get very stressed and anxious. So actually he tries to calm me down and let me know that he's here, that I'm not alone, and that I have this wonderful family to go back to, that they'll always be here. And sometimes when I think back, even during my exam, actually before, when you're in the exam hall, then exams are about to start, and sometimes I just reflect, thinking about how lucky I am that whether I pass or fail, hopefully pass, that I always have a family that I can go back to. Actually, I feel like sometimes I am actually living in what I've always wanted to have. Having pets, having someone that I can come home to every day that loves me and sees me for who I am through my darkest of times and my happiest of times. And I really am very thankful.
Lucian was a safe space to me, especially when I share with him of how, because how family is a very important. I mean, family is very important to everyone. So, coming from a family who is not really accepting of my sexual orientation, it does, it does pains me a little. Where but then I know that I'm not alone. I know that Lucian is my safe place that I can confide in, that I can just share about anything without being judged. Because although I share with my siblings who I've been so close with ever since I'm young, the thing that I got is, being advised, like, it's not too late for you to, get back on track, instead of wanting to hear me out first, wanting to learn about where I come from, or how did I become like this. Yeah, so Lucian made me safe and listen to me without giving me all those like unnecessary advice, which will make me feel even like I'm being judged, but he's not that kind of person.
I think for me, maybe it comes from low self-esteem, or maybe it's my upbringing. For me, I've always felt that I was undeserving of someone that really loves me. I think that I always felt that that no one really cared, and that I don't really deserve happiness. But some of the little gestures that he did for me, he always reminds me how much that he wants to take care of me. He really wants to show how much he loves me. It reminds me every day about what I want to be grateful for, which is his presence. And for all of that, I really appreciate him being here just the way he is. Home is you.
Home is you. Home is complete when I have Lucian and both of them.